Intro to exponents. So an exponent is a number that tells you how many times to multiply a number or a variable times itself. So if you recall PEMDAS from order of operations, E is the exponent. So we're going to talk about exponents. Here are some examples. 2 to the third power. That's something you'll hear. Third power is just raised to the exponent of 3. So powers, exponents are the same thing. This is just 2 3 times itself. 2 times 2 times 2. 1, 2, 3 of them. Here we have 5 squared. There's 2 5s. So here's 1, 2. 3 to the 5th power. We need 5 3s times each other. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got all 5 of these. When you multiply them out, you get 243. 10 to the 4th. 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. 2, 3, 4. 4 of them equals 10,000. Okay, let's look at some negatives raised to powers or exponents. If we have -4 squared, that means we put parentheses around the -4 and multiply it times itself. -4 times -4 is positive 16. Negative times a negative, if we review this, cover these two, that leaves us with a positive answer. -3 to the third power. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we got 3 of them. -3 times -3 is positive 9. Positive 9 times -3 is negative 27. A positive times a negative is a negative. 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, here we've got -1 to the 5th. 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 5 of them. Anytime you have a negative raised to an odd power, the answer will be negative. So odd power. So if this was a 5, 7, 3, 9, 11, any odd number, if you have a negative number raised to an odd power, your answer will end up being negative. In this case, it's just 1 times itself 5 times, so that's just 1. -1, I'm sorry. Okay, -2 squared, -2 to the second power, that's 2 of them. -2 times -2 is positive 4. Okay. What about some variables? Let's add that in. So x times x, we're just going to show that x squared is equal to x squared. There's really not a whole lot you can do with that unless you're evaluating for a particular value. Here we're going to have a negative y to the third. So back to our rule, if it's an odd power, a negative raised to an odd power here, your answer will be negative. So we're just going to say this is negative y to the third as simplified. A to the 4th, that's just a 4 times. 2, 3, 4. A to the 4th. Negative b squared, we have a negative times a negative, which makes positive b squared. Okay, what if the negative is outside? So over here, these were all in the parentheses. This one is outside, so it's just going to hang out. We've got 3 to the third power. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, but that negative is just hanging out there. So we put it here at the end. It's not involved in being multiplied. What if we have negative times -5 squared? Keep that negative hanging out. Have this negative hanging out here too. We can show that. And -5 times -5 makes positive 25. Again, the negative is still hanging out there. So our answer is going to be negative 25. Okay, let's do some practice problems. Three to the third, so that's 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27. That's our answer. 4 squared, 4 to the second power, that's 2 4s. 4 times 4 is 16. -5 to the third power, so we have -5 times -5 times -5. -5 times -5 equals positive 25. Positive 25 times -5 is going to be negative 125. Positive times a negative equals a negative. All right, here we have negative 6 squared, two of them, 1, 2. Negative 6 times negative 6 equals positive 36. You don't have to put a plus sign, I'm just doing that to reiterate that it's positive. Okay, x to the 4th. So just like we saw the x squared option here, or the example, I'm sorry, this is just going to be x times x times x times x, which just equals x to the 4th again. What about negative a squared? Negative a times negative a. Negative times a negative is a positive, and then a times a is a squared. We add those exponents, 1 and 1. Same here, this was 1, 1, 1, 1, so that adds up to 4. Okay, negative 4 to the 3rd. So we have negative 4 3 times. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. Positive 16 times negative 4, don't forget we have that negative hanging out. Positive 16 times negative 4 is negative 64. So this is going, those two negatives will cancel and we'll make the answer positive 64. All right, negative 2 squared. So we have that negative 2 times 2. So the negative's just hanging out. 2 times 2 is 4. Negative is there. Negative 4. Okay, now let's go look at this last little set of examples here that'll correspond to these problems right here. Here we have two separate numbers with powers on them. So these are evaluated just as you see. They're just multiplied. So anytime numbers are sitting next to each other this way, or numbers and variables, that implies multiplication. So 3 squared times 6 squared, so that's going to be 3 times 3, 2 of them, and 6 times 6, 2 of them. If we multiply that out, that equals 324. Okay, what about 5 times 2, then cubed? So as the rule of PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, we do parentheses first before doing the power. So 5 times 2 is 10. Then 10 to the 3rd power, we got 1, 2, 3 of them, equals 1,000. All right, our next example, 75 minus 3 squared. So we're going to rewrite 75 minus 3 times 3. 1, 2, 2 threes. This is the same thing as 75 minus 9. 3 times 3 is 9, and that's going to give us 66. Changing it up a little, what if we have 75 minus negative 3 squared? So again, we keep our 75 minus hanging out. Negative 3 times negative 3 equals positive 9. That's where we got that 9 here. So simplified, we have 75 minus that positive 9. Again, it's going to give us 66. Last, 75 plus negative 3 squared. So 75 plus negative 3 times negative 3, which is, again, positive 9. So 75 plus 9 is 84. So now let's apply that to these practice problems 9 through 13. So 5 squared, 2 squared, that's going to be 5 times 5 times 2 times 2 times 2. So a dot can also imply multiplication as well. 5 times 5 is 25. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 25 times 8 is 200. So we're just multiplying straight across. And I'm just simplifying by underlining. I'm just saying what that equals and then multiplying. Okay, 3 times 6 squared. So 3 times 6 squared, that is, 3 times 6 is 18. And 18 squared is 324. 18 minus 4 squared. Okay, so now we're kind of looking back at these examples right here, these 375 examples. 18 minus 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16, so we're going to take this one step further and say 18 minus 16, and that's just going to leave us with 2. 18 minus negative 4 squared, so 18 minus negative 4 times negative 4, that's going to equal 18 minus negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16, so 18 minus 16, again we're going to get 2. What about 18 plus negative 4 squared? 18 plus negative 4 times negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4, again, is positive 16. So that's going to be 18 plus 16, which is going to be 34. Good job, guys.